Welcome everyone to Phonogenics 101. We have 2 more episodes in our Prince series. And back in January 2020, when I thought of all the episodes I wanted to do, I wrote down on my list that I found that I wanted to do an episode of the hits and B-sides. And then I didn't do it. So I'm like, you know what? Even if we just talk for a little half hour with my friends here, we're going to talk about these damn B-sides. And you know who's going to listen? Everybody, because now Phonogenics 101 is on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's everywhere. We're everywhere now. So we've expanded. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers for footing the bill. I appreciate that. And thanks to my friends here for joining me on a Wednesday night to talk about a little Prince hits and B-sides. You all know Aisha. You all know Clark. But I'd still love for you each to give a little introduction and give your links out and give your creds. Give a little love to the listeners. Aisha.
Yes, I'm Aisha K. Staggers. I have been a journalist, written quite a bit about Prince, some conferences and things like that. I do a weekly podcast with Jill Jones that's not about music. It's actually about current events and politics. And yeah, so you can see that on the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube. And yeah, my social media, I'm not even sure where to tell people to reach me now because it's all in flux right now with all these changes.
Let's not talk about Twitter today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And then we also have who will be appearing as part of my Sound Salon variety show in Tampa on December 9th. Comedian, writer, storyteller, Clark Brooks.
Hello, Jeremy. It's good to be here. Hello, Aisha. My name is Clark. I saw Purple Rain once.
Oh. Is that movie with Michael Jackson?
Yeah, that's that one. Yeah.
Actually, the movie theater where I saw Purple Rain for the first time closed down recently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
My social media, everything can be found at clarkbrooks.com. So.
Cool. So it was 1993. I was had just graduated from high school, class of 93, baby. And Prince had 2 hit albums. Diamonds and Pearls was huge. The Symbol album was another big album. Aisha, you weren't on that podcast. Do you want to just give us a tiny synopsis of what you thought of those albums? Because I know you're a person with opinions, and I want to hear yours.
Yeah. My sister killed Diamonds and Pearls. That was actually one of her favorites. Strolling is my favorite from that album. But the Symbol album, many years after it came out, when I was in graduate school in like 96 to 99, got me through graduate school because I would play it from like start to finish and on repeat while I studied and typed and did all of that. And I even had the video.
Okay.
The video collection. So I had the video collection for Diamonds and Pearls. And I had the video collection from the Symbol album. So I would just have those on in the background. But yeah, I love the Symbol album. Love to the Nines is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love that song.
Because it most people don't realize is that opening guitar riff is he actually took that from Hollywood by Rufus and Shaka Khan. And that's in that song, like near the end. Because, I'd heard the song, I knew the song from when I was a little girl, but I had heard it like maybe 15 years ago again. And I was like, wait a second, that's the opening to Love to the Nine. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, 7 samples, Lowell Folsom's Tramp. Well, Prince recreated it, but it is Lowell Folsom's Tramp. And he does give them credit on there.
So, Prince was riding pretty high. And then I was surprised at the time. I can't speak for you two, but I was surprised that he was coming out with a compilation because Prince was such an in-the-moment kind of guy. A lot of times, the greatest hits is kind of like, the end of a chapter for people. So,
I wasn't surprised.
You weren't surprised? Did it feel?
No, because that was also at the time, and I've had this conversation with Alan Leeds. That was also at the time that he was doing he was going through all that stuff with the contract.
That's when it started, right?
It started, right? And so, the hits and the B-sides was also helped fulfill one of those albums that he owed Warner Brothers.
Right.
So if oftentimes when people are on their way out, they do those things. They do the compilations to fulfill,
or the cover album, or the Christmas album.
Yeah, exactly, to fulfill the album requirement. For example, like when Mariah Carey was on her way out of Columbia, she did the number ones.
The ones,
yep. The ones to, that one. And so oftentimes when people are leaving their record label and still have like an album or two to fulfill, they'll do a greatest hits because it doesn't require any new recordings or anything like that.
Clark, what was your initial thoughts when you found out that he had a compilation coming out?
Well, I knew it would be expensive, but I also knew as a completist that I had to have it. And I was very excited that they padded it with B-sides because a lot of those B-sides simply weren't available on CD. They were only available as records. And even though they were the short versions, it was better than nothing. I prefer the longer, the 12-inch versions. But at the time, I was happy to get what we could get.
We all know that I like the longer version too.
Oh, right.
Well, I think that's my only complaint with this compilation is that they chose the 7-inch edits. And like for some songs, you really need the full song, like Controversy. They cut it off with the 7-inch edits, kind of like, no, the best part of the song comes after that.
Right. I did read on Wikipedia and Prince Vault. I did a little research. I'm trying to be a little bit better of a host, so my viewers and Patreon can get their money's worth. Joking. But I do love music and I love researching that. Originally, Warner's wanted to do a compilation, but they let Prince release Diamonds and Pearls instead. And then they were going to do a box set, but they thought that'd be too costly. So I read that they actually paid Prince to not be involved in this and to stay out of it so they could organize it the way Warner's want to. Did anyone else know that?
I didn't know that, but it definitely feels like a hands off from him. It doesn't feel like something he would have done.
Right.
I am not surprised given how the contract went.
Right.
They gave him more than enough to say hands off this. Granted, the fact that there were these other little nuances in the contract, like for example, to get 100 million or 20 million per album, each of the 5 albums has to sell 5 million copies.
Right.
There were all of those little intricacies in there that I don't think he paid attention to. Again, remember, because he asked for the $100 million contract. Why? Because Janet Jackson got the 80 million contract with Virgin, and Prince really didn't think she was worthy of that. So I think a lot of, and just so people know, in addition to that, they gave him the title of VP of something and gave him an office in New York, an office in California, and a VP salary in addition to the contract. So there was a lot involved in that contract. So I don't think that he actually had a problem being hands off of that, because remember too, he was at that time, he was also evolving in his sound. And it's kind of like, okay, if they're going to do that, they're going to do that. I don't want to be a part of it, because that's when he was like, I'm not revisiting what I used to do.
Right.
But he did contribute to the liner notes.
And I believe another thing I read is that they wanted a Rolling Stone journalist to write the essay, but he said no, it had to be whoever wrote it. I need to look. Was it Alan Leeds that wrote the liner notes?
I believe it was. It was either Alan or was it John Breen? But it was somebody who
from his circle. So how much were they supposed to give him per album?
20 million per album for 5 albums.
Yep, Alan Leeds. And then he gave him Damn Chaos and Disorder.
well, that was, of course, that and Old Friends for Sale, they weren't the ones that he would have done or way he would have done them. It was to get out of the contract.
Just to get out of the contract. Yeah, we discussed last month.
He knew, obviously he did know that there was the 5 million, they had to sell 5 million copies. So what did he do? Right. He made sure the albums wouldn't.
Yeah, he sure did. What did you think of the Come album? I'm just curious because that's what we talked about last month.
I actually enjoy the Come album.
Yep, that's what we said. We all liked it more than we.
Yeah,
remember.
I actually enjoy it. When I bought it on cassette.
Oh,
And there's a store called Caldors, and they were closing here. And so I happened to see it when I was like going through stuff, that they were marking down, and I was like, "Oh, let me snatch this," and I got it, and I enjoyed it. It's one of those things that I go back and I listen to when I'm like, "Oh, I want to hear something different than what something a deep Prince dive."
Because I know all the classic albums. I know them inside and out, but something like "Come" that I don't listen to all the time, it can still sound a little fresh.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, there are some Prince albums I have not listened to just because I want to still, since he passed away, just because I want to still feel like there's fresh stuff. I know a lot of people want the super deluxes and the release from the vaults, but I really want to I've been enjoying re-exploring things that he has released that I might not play that often, and enjoying them on vinyl as opposed to CD.
Okay.
Like I did the first 15 albums.
So for the final episode, we're gonna do Prince 95 and beyond, because I haven't listened to a lot of those albums. So I kind of just want to do a lightning round and have everyone just say, I like this album, these are the songs you should check out. There was a guy, what was his name, Ben? He's like, why aren't you gonna do every Prince album? I said, well, I don't love all his other albums, and there's artists like Tina Marie that I do love there's only so much time in a life. Yeah. So, I don't really want to talk about Planet Earth. I'd rather talk about It Must Be Magic if I have.
Right. Well, the thing of it is that the Prince died because he released so much stuff. Is a much longer project. It takes a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
Like Tina Marie had a finite number of albums.
Right.
And while there might be some things that her daughter may release in the future, we know what those 10 albums are.
Yeah.
And for us, they're they're classics, but a lot of people might not know them and go back to them. With the Prince ones, there always seems to be people who believe that they are experts in this and that, and the Tina Marie thing I think will be a lot more fun because you'll be tapping into people who may not know her and her history or her connection to Prince very well. They know that she toured with him opening up, but I always laugh at that because I'm like, wait a second, she opened up for him, but she at that time her album was starting to go higher than Dirty Mind.
Right. So, I guess with the hits and B-sides, the first 2 discs, was a 3-disc set. One of them was the clean songs, right? The more spiritual one. So there was no parental advisory sticker. He saved all the little bit of a sexier, raunchier stuff for disc 2. And then disc 3 were the B-sides. So, we already talked about most of the hits. So for the first 2 discs, I'll just talk about the tracks that were exclusive to this set. We have, I should have worn my glasses. Oh, Pink Cashmere. Okay. I love that song. What do you all think of Pink Cashmere?
That was one that he did make exclusively for this project. So he was hands off, but he also was kind of like, I'll throw you a bone.
I think it's a beautiful ballad. Our friend Jeffrey Dicker loves it. Clark, what were you guys talking about? Whether the strings were real or not on that song?
Yeah, I wasn't sure because they're so perfect. I thought maybe that was a synth line. So I was glad that whoever that was, it cleared that up. Because they're beautiful. It's a great arrangement. It's more from the Claire Fisher camp. So, but they're just so perfect. I just thought maybe they were keys and not strings.
And then, of course, the other new track on the first disc was the live version of Nothing Compares to You. Of course, the original version was The Family, which I like the version with St. Paul.
Actually, the original version was a Prince recording.
Oh, that's right. The 7-inch single they released.
No, it's the demo that he did for St. Paul,
Right.
because Paul, remember when the family recorded their album, Prince did everything, even every little ad lib, and Paul
Right.
had to recreate it exactly. So when you go back, if you go on YouTube, you can find some of these things. Like they have his version of Mutiny, his version
Okay.
of Screams of Passion, even his version of I Wonder You can find there. So which is it's interesting because there's something a little scary about that, about his version of it, because it sounds like this little kind of demonic voice.
Because isn't it Wendy that sings the?
Yeah, because when she does it, it's a much more mellow delivery, and when he does it, it's in Prince's squeaky voice.
Oh, I've never heard that. Have you, Clark?
No, haven't. I'll look for
Yeah,
it afterwards.
it's
Yeah.
on YouTube, and it's kind of it's a little weird. You settle into it after a while, but at first it can get you off guard. But those recordings that he did for the family tracks, and even I think you can find Desire on there, but those recordings that he did for the family tracks, I mean, Paul copied like exactly to the T,
Sure.
note for note.
I was really surprised because I was a Sinead fan, and when I heard her new single on the radio, I'm like, this is that damn weird song from the Family album. Because the original version it's like a cappella, then the strings come in, but to hear it become like a hit song, that's the last damn thing I expected.
I don't like that song.
I don't like the.
I like that song less than I actually have a fondness for Purple Rain, although it's not one of my go-tos.
Oh yeah.
I don't. I feel about Nothing Compares to You almost the way that I feel about Jughead.
Oh, those are strong words there. So the Family's version, I think, is thumbs down. I actually love Sinead's version of Nothing Compares to You. And I think the live version on the hits and B-sides with Rosie Gaines, she's singing with him, right? I think it's
Now I did see him do it live with Mary J. Blige.
Ooh, that'd be kind of
and
hot.
with Jennifer Hudson. And those were actually tolerable.
Let's not talk about Madonna's version she did after Prince passed away.
You mean her version of Sinead O'Connor's version of a Prince song?
Clark, what do you think of the version on the hits and B-sides?
I liked it. I thought Sinead's version was it was on the radio every 5 minutes for one thing, and I thought that was kind of an unlikely hit because it was so slow and heavy. So I like the more upbeat versions of that song. Whoever's doing it.
Our friend Melissa has to get up early for work tomorrow, but she did give it 2 thumbs up. So we have Melissa's ratings here. She gave Pink Cashmere a thumbs up.
I would actually like to see somebody take Nothing Compares to You and do like a kind of dance version. I think that could actually work.
Do you know who did a jazz version as the last song on her last album was Aretha? Did you ever hear Aretha's version?
No.
It's like an upbeat. I was surprised. It's really good. So check out Aretha's version from Aretha Franklin sings the Diva Classics.
I will, because I always thought that like maybe an upbeat version of that song could actually work.
I was surprised because I'm like, oh Lord, here comes Aretha doing a cover. Yeah. And she Aretha did her thing. The thing about Aretha, I was never a huge fan, but since she's passed, I'm always impressed about what a genius she was. Like things just come up, I'm like, oh shit. So
now I did like Patti LaBelle's version of Purple Rain that she did on the BET Awards when Prince won the award. I actually was like, oh, this is actually a nice song.
All right, so let's move on to disc 2. Do you have anything else to say about Nothing Compares to You, Clark?
Well, I was going to... Do you ever hear the classic story about Aretha from filming the Blues Brothers back in 1980 or whenever it was?
No, share it. I'm always up for an Aretha story.
One of the hardest scenes to film was her lip syncing Think.
I did hear about that.
At the diner, because she can't lip sync. She always performs everything fresh every time she does stuff. So they had real problems getting her to lip sync to a track. So
wow.
Apparently one of the hardest scenes to film from that movie. So because she's Aretha all the time.
Yeah, because up until that point, she hadn't recorded music videos.
Right.
I'm sure she got better at it as she got more into the video making, but that was 1980. She hadn't really recorded videos.
Once she got on the freeway of love in her pink Cadillac, she was all set. Okay, disc 2, the dirty disc. Now we're talking.
Well, you called this first disc, you said it wasn't the dirty disc, but the truth be told, it's got Soft and Wet
I know,
on
right?
there,
Okay.
and When You Were Mine, and like,
This
well,
is about a
I'm sorry, Why You
threesome.
Want to Treat Me So Bad, and Adore, and yeah, it's got some of this.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, here's the clean disc with Soft and Wet.
In Alphabet Street, of course, which, yeah,
I love
speaks for
Alphabet.
itself.
And even this is a testament of Prince's imperial, phase. It's the top of the charts. What a run of hits and classic albums. And this is really a jewel in the crown. If he's the Prince, this is definitely a jewel in the crown. Disc 2 opens with that shitty edit of Controversy.
Yeah, I always look for the people call me rude part of the song. That's like one of my favorite parts. It just
And I always thought it's always weird going from Controversy into Dirty Mind, because to me those songs are so chronologically sequenced that I don't like them being in the wrong order, even on this disc.
Well, I agree, because you realize when you listen to Dirty Mind, you see that he had the elements there to create a song like Controversy.
Right.
When you listen to Controversy, you realize the elements are there for him to write in 1999. And when you listen to 1999, you realize the elements are there for When Doves Cry. So everything builds on top of everything else. All of these songs being the lead songs from the albums.
The new songs on this disc is we had Peach, which was never one of my favorites, I will admit.
It's a shitty song. I don't care what anyone says. It is horrible.
She's
it is horrible. Peach. It's horrible, and the video is horrible for it.
Now, our friend Melissa gave it a thumbs up, but I think she gave everything. Oh, okay. Clark, what were your thoughts on Pope?
Pope?
Or Peach.
I didn't hate Peach. It was a different... just kind of a straight up rocker from him, which was rare at that point. So I didn't hate it.
I just feel like when a proper album track is weaker than the B-sides disc, we're in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, here's my thing. I never want to ever in my life again hear Prince or Michael Jackson say the word titties. And I have heard them both say it. I just never want to do that again. It just gives me the creeps.
Clark, did you have more?
Yes. My opinion on titties, and I'm saying.
Okay, Pope. What's your guys' thoughts on Pope?
I actually like Pope, and I'll tell you why. Because of all the songs that Prince raps on, if you actually sit and listen to Pope, he's not a sucker MC right there. He can actually deliver a rhyme. It's one of the better rhymes that he has delivered in songs. And there
better
are
than
songs
Jughead.
There's songs that he's rapped in, and I'm just kind of like, ugh. So I actually like Pope. Pope caught me off guard when I wasn't paying attention and it was on.
All right, and Clark, what did you think of Pope?
Well, I was never a fan of Prince rapping at all, because to me it seemed like for the first time in his career he was following a trend rather than setting it. And not that he's not skilled at it, it's just that it seemed like it was a rare case of him joining something rather than leading something. So I just never been a fan of that.
To me, it was better than the raps that he did on Diamonds and Pearls, which, like, I mean, just put a knife in my gut, Prince, please. That's how I felt about those raps on that album.
I think Clark, we felt the same way on our podcast, didn't we, for much of it?
I think so. And especially when he came from a place when he first addressed it, hating it, addressing it on the Black Album.
Right, on Dead On It.
Well, that was the whole thing behind that, right? Like when he started doing it on Diamonds and Pearls, because it wasn't so much that he thought there was any value to it. He didn't see the value to it actually until 93. But Alan Leeds and I had this conversation about a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. And he was just like, he was very much I don't understand this, and I don't understand why people like this. It's like I'm a musician, and I do this and do that. I don't get it. I don't get it. And so his response to it was to kind of mimic it.
Mm.
But actually, if when he's not in the mimic mode, he's not bad at it. But when Diamonds and Pearls, that was the mimic mode.
I think that's definitely a fair statement. All right. So those are the hits. Those are the new tracks. We don't need to talk about the hits. We all know that they're all thumbs up and brilliantly some of the best music ever recorded. But so are many of the songs on disc 3. So the thing about Prince is you had the A-sides, which were huge culture-changing hits. But damned if the fucking songs on the B-side were just as good, sometimes better than the album tracks. Now, once in a while, you'll have an artist throw out a good B-side. Fleetwood Mac sometimes would have a killer B-side, and then some shitty B-sides. But Prince was coming out with one after another, after another, after another, that were just so good. And to have this disc where they're all collected together, I remember the first time I got this for Christmas, me and Ann Fierman, I shouldn't say it. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to tell the story. So anyway, I have a memory with this CD on Christmas with Ann Fierman. Okay, the B-sides. Okay, so the hits, we are now on the B-sides. Okay. So none of these are chronological. Clark, you have nothing to say, do you?
I'm anticipating how I'm going to face Ann Fierman in the future, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do so. So,
disc 3, Prince, the hits and the B-sides. Starts off with Jill Jones's voice, correct? Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, we know that voice. That's our girl. That's our girl.
But it's an interesting way to start it. When how the album starts to begin with. It starts with When Doves Cry, right? Which obviously Purple Rain is the album that put him over the top.
Sure.
But Hello was for this venture into the B-sides to start with Hello. Remember what Hello is a response to.
We Are the World,
of
right?
That fame, after that fame, the media builds you up and then they want to tear you down, right? And so the not recording the We Are the World, but not having the whole story out there. So this was his way of telling that story.
I always liked Hello. I thought it was actually better than some of the stuff on Around the World in a Day.
I agree. I can agree with that.
Now, if I remember right, I feel like Jill's not a huge fan of the song, but I could be wrong. This is just me pulling something out of my memory. Clark, what did you think of Hello?
I liked it. It has the driving beat of like some of the songs like Controversy, which I enjoyed. The bam, 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 bam. I liked that.
I don't know. I kind of liked that he was making such a direct statement. He was this was Prince clapping back.
But yeah, to be perfectly honest, the part, I don't think that it would be as good a song if it didn't have Jill's vocals there.
No,
because that opening kind of just catches you. It's like, wow.
And then when she's like, "There's just as much hunger here at home," like Jill Jones was like the secret weapon in a lot of the Prince protege stuff. Because like when you listen to Sheila E., Belle of St. Mark, it's a good song. But then when the Jill Jones harmony comes in the chorus, she just was the secret weapon that took all these songs to the next level and put them through the stratosphere.
Well, the same thing with the Vanity 6 songs. I mean, if you sit and you listen to Vanity 6 versus the Apollonia 6 album, you can tell the difference. Because being honest, all things honest, Vanity wasn't a terribly good singer. Apollonia, not a terribly good singer. But having that background, having that layer foundation of Jill really elevated Vanity's voice. It doesn't have the same hollowness to it.
I remember when I bought Vanity's Wild Animal album, I was like, damn, her voice is really bad here. And I love the Wild Animal album. It's like a piece of camp, but Prince definitely recorded her differently. And having that Jill Jones layer in there, I'm a huge Vanity fan. Of course, a Vanity 6 podcast is going to happen, and I'm probably going to cry during it because that album, this is one of my favorite of all time. But you hear those Jill harmonies in there, you know. And you know what Jill harmony from the Apollonia album was my favorite when I was a kid? It was the Ooh She She Wah Wah.
Yeah.
Dance to the beat of the clock. Like, her voice just cuts through. So, Jill, if you ever listen to this podcast, we love you.
But you could tell there wasn't the layering there. I think that had it been layered,
right,
Apollonia's voice would have held better.
Because Jill was layered so well on Vanity 6 that just sounded cohesive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Apollonia 6, like, she cut through because, you know. Ooh, and don't get me talking about Brenda. I love Brenda Bennett's voice. You all know that. We're not even going to go there.
You hear her voice on Manic Monday, the Bengals version. They liked it so much they kept it.
They kept Brenda right in there. Okay, so moving on from Hello. Of course, we give Hello. We all give it thumbs up. We're going to do the Marcus. And Melissa gives it thumbs up. 200 Balloons. The B-side to Bat Dance was never one of my favorite songs. I thought it was kind of eh.
You all know how I feel about Bat Dance. I don't like it so much I didn't even do the podcast.
You didn't even do the fucking podcast. You're like,
because I don't like the Batman album.
And does that disdain extend to the 200 Balloons B-side?
I don't really care for the Batman B-sides.
Clark, 200 Balloons.
I like 200 Balloons.
200 Balloons.
It's got that driving forward beat that I always like in Prince's songs. You know, it's another one. It's very poppy. It's very silly. Clearly, he's writing it for the movie. I think there's a scene where the Joker has balloons, so it's clearly written for the movie. I don't think it made it into the movie though.
Now I remember thinking, and you all might disagree with me, I feel like there's so many strong B-sides that he kind of led the CD off with some weaker shit. Like I liked Hello, but I just never liked 200 Balloons. And then I give 200 Balloons a sideways.
I'll give it a thumbs up.
You give it a thumbs up, and we know what Aisha gives it.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we go into the B-side of Glam Slam, Escape, which is basically just like an extension of Glam Slam. A remix.
That he gave a new name.
I just thought it was like, free your mind from this rat
race. I loved it.
You did love it?
I loved it. When I was 12 going on 13 or so, and I bought the 45, and the first thing I did when I got home was I knew what the 45 sounded like.
Did it have that clear sleeve with the sticker on it?
I love that B-side because I love the way that he split the bass, and so Glam Slam had more of a poppy sound to it, but Escape was more funky, and I love the way that he flipped that.
It was retro.
Brought in elements from Glam Slam, brought in elements including the strings from Claire Fisher, but also held fast with that bass line. That bass line is great.
By the way, Melissa gave 200 Balloons a sideways. So, I know. Are you shocked? Clark, Escape. Free your mind from this rat race.
Same reason Aisha said. I love the bass line in this. I also like the horn signatures, which are not present in the album version. Both of those elements, I love them both.
Okay.
Yeah. Eric Leeds and Atlanta Bliss, when he made use of them from that Last Revolution album up through Love Sexy, Sign of the Times to Love Sexy, it was a good addition.
All right. So we all give Escape thumbs up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa does. Next, we're going back to the early 80s. Gotta stop messing about. This was the B-side to Let's Work, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I loved scrappy new wave Prince. I fucking loved this song.
It fit the era that he was in, like the whole Dirty Mind era. I kind of wish that he put it on the album.
Oh, I know. I loved it. This song's just as good as anything on Dirty Mind or Controversy, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's like, I was trying to think of the songs real fast. There's no rockabilly song on Dirty Mind that I would want him to get rid of. Probably Ronnie Talk to Russia. I could I could deal with this in Ronnie Talk to Russia's place. No,
I
sorry,
could deal
wrong
with this
album.
with-
Wrong album.
I could deal without Sister, even though, you know, it's, I like Sister, but I'll take Gotta Stop over that.
But Sister's part of the legacy. You can't
It's part of the
abandon.
legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's nothing I would remove from Dirty Mind. On
You're right.
Controversy, like I said, Ronnie Talked to Russia, and what's that other song I can't stand?
Anti-Christian.
Jack You Off.
No, I don't mind any Christian. That's it. Jack You Off. Just
You know how Aisha feels about Purple Rain and those rockabilly
you know how I
songs.
feel about Prince and the rockabilly songs. I just
Well, you're in luck because we're about to talk about one of those. But when this came out on CD, I had never heard Gotta Stop Messing About because I didn't, you know, we all owned the 12-inch singles of Purple Rain and Let's Go Crazy and Raspberry Beret, but I don't think all of us had the Let's Work 12-inch single. You know what I mean?
No, but you can go on YouTube and watch him perform Gotta Stop Messing About live.
Ooh, is it hot?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he's wearing like a green, like, t-shirt that's like shredded on the sides and stuff, and the leg warmers, and
ooh, I give this 2 thumbs up.
And
I love this song.
And the hair that looks like he didn't wash it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Ooh. Prince Come Back to Me is your 1980 version with the leg warmers. Okay. Next is a song that Aisha is absolutely going to love from her favorite canon of Prince genre, Horny Toad.
Now I can do without it.
Another rockabilly, Jack You Off-ish, delirious-ish kind of deal. Clark, do you have any defense for the song?
I like them. I think they're fun. I mean, there's nothing deep about them. There's not a message. There's nothing to be gained from listening to it. It's just a fun song. And I don't hate that on that level.
I prefer to read the lyrics to this song than to hear the song.
That's poetry. You're a horny toad. Melissa gave it a sideways. I think I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
My crush on Melissa is waning.
Oh. You guys are having so much fun talking about these. Thanks for doing this tonight. Mm-hmm. This album, we had to talk about the fucking B-sides. It had to be done. Okay. Now we are moving on to a song that I'm sorry. I love it. Aisha, I know you didn't like the band.
No. Here's the exception. I love this song because it's not a Batman song.
It's a 1999, right?
In the early 80s. Yeah. And so I think he like re-recorded it in 86 or something like that. So, yeah.
So when the 1999 Deluxe came out, we did hear the original demo of Feel You Up.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I prefer the
like
fucking give me Camille. Give me Camille. Give me the Batman. Let me touch your body, baby. Let me feel you up. Come on, baby. Come on. Let me. Do you guys ever think you'd hear me do my Camille?
Is that your Camille impression?
Come on, feel your body, baby. I give.
Sound like the Great Gazoo from the Flintstones.
I honestly think I love every Camille song. Like every single one of the Camille songs I love, and Feel You Up is no exception. For some reason, Prince was just on fire.
You know where he gets that from, right?
No, tell the story.
He gets it from Stevie Wonder from 1972 talking book, Maybe Your Baby.
Oh.
And Stevie Wonder does that with his voice. And I realized it then, but I saw a video of Prince performing Maybe Your Baby with Stevie Wonder. So Stevie Wonder did his original voice, and Prince did the Camille-like voice. When they performed it. And I was like, that's where it came from, because I forgot that Stevie Wonder had done that a few times. So yeah.
That Camille reissue that was threatened to us never happened, so I hope it still does someday. Feel You Up.
Is that the one that Jack White is working on, or is that something else?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I trust Jack White implicitly, so I think
it'll happen.
Yeah.
I love the live horns on the Party Man Feel You Up as opposed to like the demo. I give it 2 thumbs up. I like when Prince is having a good time. You can tell he had fun doing this version. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell he was having fun. Okay, next. Girl was the B-side to America, was it?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
This song's directly connected to my Christmas memory that I won't talk about. But we are in the psychedelic around the world in a day era. I like this song. It's definitely kind of a B-side, I feel like.
It actually came on last night on my playlist. I like it. I want to hear Vanity's version. I believe Vanity does version, because underneath, you know that when you listen to the song underneath, it sounds like there's a record playing backwards.
Yeah, like
it's supposedly right. It's supposedly Vanity's version of the song. But I think the lyrics are "boy," So I can't remember the story offhand, but it's one of those non-threatening songs that I went back and listened to during quarantine because I had nothing else better to do all day. I need to fill 24 hours, so I was listening to obscure Prince songs, and it reminds me of some 80s British pop.
Like Thompson Twins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clark, what do you think of Girl?
Not a favorite. I never put it on. I mean, if it comes on, I won't skip it, but I would never seek it out and put it on them.
I give it a thumbs
short
up
version, because there's a longer version of it too.
Okay. Melissa gives it a thumbs up. Prince is Clark is a sideways. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have another song. This was another B-side from Batman, wasn't it? I Love You in Me.
Yeah.
Was that the Arms of Orion B-side?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. And podcast listeners, I do most of this from memory, so I'm a little bit of a fan. I get most of it right, some of it wrong. I never liked this song. I thought it was. Ugh.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
Musically, I don't have a problem with it. I think, again, you know how I feel about Batman. The only song from Batman I actually like is Scandalous. I have a hard time listening to it just because the lyrics.
There's a lot of Prince songs.
Oh my God, I struggle. I'm like, okay, there are so many different ways that you can think of to make a love song about sex. And this ain't it. Sorry.
There are some songs that
I think that is me, my female experiences talking coming out. It's like the last thing I would ever say to a guy is that, but the last thing I would ever want to hear back from a guy is me saying that.
So wait. If Prince wanted her inside of him.
No, but he said that she said.
Oh, she said. That's right. That's right. Yeah, there's some Prince songs where I'm like, I wouldn't mind you and me, but this is not one of them that makes me feel that way. Especially coming after Girl and the memory that went along with it. So I give I Love You in Me a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Sideways, just because the musically it's great, and the melody would be good. It's just the lyrics that throw me off.
Now, my favorite B-side is not on this collection, and it was from the Batman. I love the Sex, the B-side to Scandalous. The 80s are over and the time has come. Okay. But it didn't make this compilation.
Mm-mm.
Next. Oh my God. How do we even talk about Erotic City?
It is one of the best B-sides that never was an A-side he ever recorded.
Everyone knows the story. He went to a George Clinton concert, and didn't he go home and record this? Is that the legend?
Okay, so that's been disputed because the date that he gave, that George Clinton actually wasn't on tour.
Oh, that's funny.
But I don't know. I have to ask Jill that again. But I could see. I'll tell you, being a fan of Parliament Funkadelic, I can see the the inspiration from Not Just Knee Deep, because that was a song that he claimed he saw that inspired it. And when I was very little, Not Just Knee Deep came out. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4, and I used to love that song. And so when I heard this, it just gave me that feeling. And every time I hear this song, I feel like 9 years old when I heard it. But the version of it that I like is the one on the Purple Rain Super Deluxe.
Is it the longer? Is it longer?
It's the longer version.
The longer version, right?
Because I love just hearing that isolated bass.
Oh yeah, and that's the version that was on the original Let's Go Crazy 12-inch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, we have to give out a shout out to Sheila E. on this one. I love her little hook in the chorus. You know,
Let me tell you, that is one of the songs. That one, because I have it's right here. It's like it's 12-inch. I have that B-side and Girls and Boys are like 12 inches of Prince that I collect from different countries.
Okay.
Because the versions have been different and the mixes are different.
Yeah. Does Sheila E. say funk or fuck? What do you guys think?
She said what Prince asked her to say at the time. She might change her mind now.
She might be serving that lemon meringue or what was her lemon cake? But she was making some dark chocolate back then, baby.
But look, we're talking to 60-year-old Sheila E. now. Let's talk to 20-something-year-old Sheila E. just getting her first break with Prince to do her own thing. She's saying what he asked her to say.
Ooh. Now that song makes me I Love You and Me.
Wasn't she also living with him too? She's saying what he wanted her to say.
Okay. Erotic City, 10 thumbs up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it would not have fit on Purple Rain. Like, it's so legendary that it was on a B-side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only album I can see it fitting on would be 1999. I don't see it fitting in with anything else that he ever did. I mean, it's a great standalone song, and it doesn't sound like anything else he ever did, but it wouldn't fit with anything except for 1999. I couldn't even see
it on 1999 except as a B-side to Dance Music Sex Romance.
Mm-hmm.
It is perfect as a B-side. However, I couldn't see it on the Purple Rain album, but I could see it in the film.
I can see it in the film.
Yeah, ooh. Maybe. Yeah.
They're all dancing at First Avenue.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of, cut tape that, has been destroyed since that might have it.
That's what I'm for. I'm waiting for the Purple Rain that has the outtakes. And
they won't have that. And the reason that they won't have that is because they've said, I've read several books about the making of the movie and the aftermath, that they said that Warner Brothers says they don't have any of that. That's why that scene where he's with his mother and his father in the basement, he goes to touch his mother's leg. That's why that scene is so dark, because they actually had a footage of it that they shot with better lighting, but something happened and they lost that footage, so they used the old one. But that's why
it kind of works though.
That's why when they did like the 25th anniversary and this most recent release with the Super Deluxe, there wasn't any footage.
Damn.
But there's a real brief clip of the fight he has with Jellybean that shows up in one of the videos. I can't remember which video it is.
Yeah, it's in the in the music. It's in the music video. But since they've lost the footage, because people were like, "Oh yeah, we want to see."
I want to see Jill sing Wednesday. Wasn't that supposed to be
exactly? People have been wanting to see that footage, wanting to see the original fight footage. And if you read the actual Purple Rain script, it's so much different than what they how they edited the film. Because there's this weird scene with his mother that almost feels like incest. It's creepy. It is.
I've also always wanted a standalone version of Des Dickerson's Modern Air.
Oh yeah.
I actually bought one. The song.
That's Black Market, though, right? That's not a real release,
No,
right?
no. This one actually. Wait it. No, this came from. It's very old, but I believe this came directly from Des.
Oh, didn't Des put out a box set at one point?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, because this one it has other songs on it. It's like it's not just Modern Air. It's got um Heart Persuasion, Faceless Mind, some other songs by Des on here.
I think Modern Air could have charted if they put it out as
I agree. But also too at the time, wasn't Des kind of leaving the fold anyway?
Yeah, I almost got the impression that scene was like a parting gift.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like Sex Shooter would have charted if it got released a little bit sooner? Because they have only 6 songs came out.
It actually did chart though.
Oh, it did?
I'm amazed at how it did. Because it did better on the chart, on the R&B chart than
it was released so much later than the movie though, wasn't it, from what I remember?
Yeah, that album came. Yeah,
that album. But remember that I think though at Warner Brothers was kind of hesitant about taking that risk with the Apollonia 6. Like, first of all, how long is Prince going to do this? Because they've seen Prince with other female groups last an album, maybe two, one. Like, how long is this going to last? It went up to number 19 on the R&B chart,
and I think they knew like Apollonia was just kind of taking a film role. Like, she wasn't in a band like Vanity was in the band.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that they weren't. Remember, at first they weren't sure how this movie was gonna do. And so once the movie started doing well and Prince nailed that number 1 album, song, and film, they were rushing to get that album out. I think that I also got that feeling with the Time album as well. It was kind of like more rushed than anything. It's like, oh, we've got to catch up with this. Because the momentum of it. Remember, in the 80s, it took longer for people to do albums because remember they were pressing them on the vinyl, and that was a time-consuming project in the 80s. So I think they got caught off guard with Purple Rain, and that's why Sex Shooter came out so much later.
You know what we were rewarded with though? Happy birthday, Mr. Christian. What are we going? No, okay. Moving on. Back to the B-sides. That's not a pencil. Shame. Don't make me get started on Apollonia 6. Okay. We are moving on to a song that is a reaction to Jesse Johnson, who dared leave the Prince fold and release an album called Shakadalaka. The girl so must be a witch.
This is petty Prince.
He's being such a petty little bitch. Shakadalaka.
You gotta love him when he gets petty.
Yeah. It's another Camille song.
It's a Camille.
Yeah.
Melissa gives this. Okay, she gave Erotic City 2 thumbs up. She gave Shakadelica 3 thumbs up.
Come on.
Shakadelica! I love Shakadelica.
I mean, it's a good song. I recognize the pettiness, and for that reason, I love Prince for it.
The bed's on fire, and the reason is Camille. These B-sides are giving me life. These are some of my favorite Prince songs because he kind of loosened up a little bit and just was a goof.
A little bit.
What do you guys rank Shakadelica?
I give it a thumbs up. I don't give it 3 thumbs up though.
Yeah, I don't give it all that.
I give it 2 thumbs up because you know me and Camille are.
Yeah.
Me and Camille. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, the B-side, I believe now Shakadelica was the B-side to If I Was Your Girlfriend, or You Got the Look. One of them.
One of those, yeah.
One of them. Mine are too far to go see.
I don't know.
I'm a shitty podcast host. Okay, I had to remember. The B-side to Sign of the Times was La 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 Hee Hee Hee.
Well, I'll find out.
No, the B-side to You Got the Look was Hot Thing. No, that was I Can Never Take the Place of Your Man. Slow Love?
No. I think it might have been If I Was Your Girlfriend. What song were we talking about just now? I'm sorry.
Shockadelica.
Right. I'll find out.
Okay, cool. Nothing like not doing my research, but I kind of like doing it.
Yeah, it was the B-side of If I Was Your Girlfriend.
Okay, so I got it. I got it my first guess, I think. Okay, next we are moving to the B-side of Let's Pretend We're Married, I believe.
Yeah.
Irresistible Bitch. The first time that Wendy Melvoin appears on a Prince song was on singing the vocals with Lisa on Irresistible Bitch. I always felt like this had a little bit of a tribute to Blondie Rapture with the chimes. I love this song. We got Prince talking. This is a badass song that sounds like no other Prince songs. Like this wouldn't be on any other album, but it's a great fucking B-side. Ugh.
But it doesn't sound like any other album songs, but he did enjoy jamming a lot with just drum and bass, which is what this basically is.
Yeah.
Is this the one that segues into Feel You Up when it has the original demo?
Not sure.
That.
I'm looking forward though to because I just by accident bought 2 of the 12 inches of Let's Pretend We're Married. So I'm looking forward to hearing this on vinyl.
Oh, it's so great with the little pops on it.
Exactly.
It's paired with Possessed on the Purple Rain tour. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The first time Wendy and Lisa sang together on a Prince song, right? Well, Free. They're both on Free, but you can really hear them on this one. I give this 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa,
Wendy and Lisa have like a weird, distant kind of spacey feel sometimes to their lyrics, like on this, where they're like, it sounds like something from a ghost story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're kind of disconnected from what's really going on, like this and on Automatic and
Computer Blue.
Yeah.
Wasn't
but
it Jill and Lisa?
On Automatic, was she?
Yeah, I think that was Jill and Lisa.
But, but it was that same effect though.
I think Lisa had such a great texture.
I think that's how Lisa's voice is.
Mm.
She's got there's a very kind of mechanical sound.
Yeah.
To it that I think gives that kind of aura.
I might be alone in this, but I love the Wendy and Lisa solo albums, and Lisa only took 1 or 2 leads.
Yeah.
On their albums.
Usually, I like them too.
I do too.
Okay, our friend Melissa gave Irresistible Bitch 3 thumbs up.
Okay, she's back in the boat.
She's back in the boat. Okay. Uh-oh. Scarlet Pussy.
I love this song. I love it. And put it this way. I knew enough at the age of 12, going on 13, to listen to this song in the basement with the headphones on.
Will someone remind me how the verses started this one? Because I'm blanking out.
Gosh, it's Sheila E. and Kat, right?
Oh, every night, wasn't this? I read somewhere this was supposed to be on the 4th Sheila E. Paisley Park album.
Was it?
Yep, that's what I read somewhere. And instead, it was on a B-side. And I remember, I remember right,
in the Camille voice again.
It's on the Camille voice. And didn't the B-side have a black label with the peach writing, like it would have been the Black Album?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Every night the little band to come around.
I always thought of it like a companion piece to La 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 He He, even though they sound different. But it's Prince as an animal.
Because that was on the B side of I Wish You Heaven. So it was the dark on the one side and then the light on the other.
Yep. I definitely gave Melissa gave Scarlet Pussy a sideways thumbs. I give it 2 thumbs up.
I give it two thumbs up. It's one of my favorite. I'll tell you, the Love Sexy had some really good B-sides.
Oh yeah, I think Love Sexy that's an album that no one's talking about anymore. It's such a masterpiece. It's one of my
favorites.
And of all of our Prince podcasts, I think that's the most viewed was our Love Sexy one.
It's a hard album to be accessible to a lot of people
because it has one track.
Due in large part because it's one track, so people don't have fond memories of individual tracks they do with other albums.
Can I ask you a question? Did anyone else ever sit with their CD player and hit fast forward for 5 minutes so you could get to Positivity?
Well, I had it on vinyl. So my dad was a DJ, so he taught me very early on how to look at the grooves and see where there was space to start the songs at. So I never had a problem with the songs going into each other because I recorded the vinyl on cassette.
Oh, okay.
With breaks for myself. So I had breaks before anybody else had breaks. But when now on streaming, you can listen to the individual tracks.
Oh, okay.
I think when it first came out on Tidal, when Jay-Z first put it out on Tidal, I don't think you could.
Yeah, no one has time for that these days. That's just not the way the world is.
Yeah.
And that album is worth hearing, you know. It'd be a shame.
It's a really good album. And the truth is that if you listen to it the way that Prince wanted you to listen to it, I think you have a better understanding of where he was trying to go and why the songs were connected. But logically, I mean, there is space. There are spaces between the songs.
This is a hot take, but I think Love Sexy is a better album than Parade or Around the World in a Day.
Better than Around the World in a Day. Love Sexy puts me in the mood of Parade.
Okay.
And let's also not discount the fact that, I mean, he's naked on the album cover. How did that?
Thank you very much.
Well, you know, and was it in Japan they painted blue pants on it?
Yeah.
They did not. I'm going to have to look that up. Oh my gosh.
You can see it. I was thinking about buying it. I'm like, it doesn't feel right because it's not authentic. But they painted blue pants on it.
All right, next.
Yeah.
Oh, you are a cat.
My faves.
The B-side, The Sign of the Times. I remember that 12-inch single came out before the album. I looked at the back cover. I'm like, oh my God, Prince looks ugly here. It was not Prince. Was that Cat dressed up as?
Yeah.
But at the time, we didn't know who Cat was at the time. We didn't know what the hell was going on.
My mother and I had that argument at the time. I'm like, that is not Prince. First of all, you could tell a female's body that even though she muscular and a dancer, but at the time I was taking dance lessons. All I knew were dancers and what dancers' bodies looked like. I could tell that wasn't Prince. But also too, the other thing that was dead giveaway was there was no mole on her face.
The thing is though, Sign of the Times was such a serious song. And then you get this because at the time, if you're a Prince fan, the 12-inch singles were just as important as the albums themselves.
Yeah.
Including the cover art. The cover art for each one of these singles was gorgeous. I love all the Sign of the Times. The font but you had the picture with the heart, then you flip over and see this what a ridiculous, that's the most ridiculous picture I've ever seen in my life.
But I think though, I honestly think that it was done purposefully.
I
think that he wanted to have that androgynous look to make people talk.
He was dicking us hardcore.
What did he see in Cat at the time? Because, I mean, I know he's had his fixations, obviously, but she really was just a dancer.
I'm going to pull out this vinyl while you're talking, sir. You're Clark.
So I never understood. I mean, I like Cat, but I never understood what his intense attraction were and the stuff that he let her do. And she's not up on the same par as some of the musicians he played with. But
then again, you gotta look at some of the musicians that he did work with that weren't up to par. Prince, honestly, being honest, there were very few female artists that he worked with that were innately talented.
Mm-hmm.
He crafted a lot of the women that he brought on as proteges. I think the thing with Kat, the difference is because um if you go by what Kat says and by what Prince, there wasn't that kind of attraction,
Right.
and
But
so the friendship and respect was there in a different way. I think that um, that's just the kind of person that he was, though. It's like what
yeah,
Joe said. He didn't give women flowers; he gave them albums.
yeah. But at
Do you
the
feel like
same time, like there were times when he'd elevate her almost to like the front person of the band, and
He did that with
that,
Mai Tai.
yeah.
yeah,
It was interesting. I feel like later there was kind of like a new level of talentlessness that came along. No disrespect to Carmen Electra, but
I knew you were going to say Carmen Electra.
poor Carmen. She always gets the brunt of it all. Um, La 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 Hee Hee Hee. The 12-inch B side was like 10 minutes long, highly explosive. Didn't Sheena Easton write the song with him or sing on it or something?
She dared him to write a song with the lyrics "La la la he he," and so he gave her co-writer credit.
Okay, this song is literally the fucking best. Like
Yeah,
it's the perfect B side to the Sign of the Times era. Maybe it wouldn't have fit the album,
Yeah.
but what a great fucking B side. Melissa, our friend, gave it 1 thumbs up. I think I give it 2. I think it's just great fun. Oh, 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 you are a cat. Okay.
and the
Actually,
12-inch
and
has great
when you
solos.
listen to "La La La he," it's almost like that song and "Scarlet Pussy" should have been on two sides
Mm-hmm.
of a vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clark, what were you going to say about the solo?
on the 12-inch, there's great solos, great Eric lead solos,
Oh,
great
yeah.
guitar solos, and yeah, it's more like one of his live performances,
Yep.
So
All right. Speaking of Jill Jones, she comes up as the subject of the next song, which was the B-side to Raspberry Beret. She's always in my hair. Definitely a better song than some of the stuff that was on Around the World in a Day, in my opinion.
mm-hmm.
Well, he also wrote it before that too, though.
Okay. I think this is a great song. A great, great, great song.
I do
I
too.
I love the song. My only my only thing is that I just feel like in the opening that that part should have been in the intro as well, leading up to the opening of the first vocal.
Okay.
I just feel like it should have. But apart from that, I asked Joe, I'm like, what did you think when he came to you? Like, oh, I wrote this song about you. She was like, I asked him, I'm like, what made you think I would marry you?
There's definitely a vulnerability here and a little bit of a nakedness in his emotion. Don't you feel like?
Yeah, I think I can't remember the conversation she and I had about this part of the song, but it was almost like I think it was when I was interviewing her for the Jill Jones album Twitter thread last year.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that, he almost wrote the song from her perspective. Whereas it's like, he looking at her, but also taking the elements of her and putting them into the song.
Well, we're all friends with Jill here. In this song, I feel like Jill was to, I'm going to get a little emotional, but Jill was to Prince what she is to, like, whenever I feel like giving up, the sunshine turns to, like, she really stands by people. And she really is a true blue fucking friend. And you can hear it in the song that she was to Prince what she is to everybody in everyone's life that she touches. Like,
yeah, I can see that, but I can also, the other part of it that I see that is unnerving to me, because you realize that's part of her personality, particularly at the time, was that it's like, if you know this, why do you behave the way that you do?
yeah.
And not only that, but why would you put those ways in the song? The whole maybe I'll marry her, maybe I won't part is disrespectful. Because I told her, I said, you know what? If he brought that to me and said that, I'd be like, look here, midget, we've got a problem. Because what do you mean? That was his own arrogance kind of coming through there.
Mm-hmm.
And because you do know Jill, you're kind of like defensive, like, dude, that was really foul, right? Even though in his mind he meant it as a tribute.
And I almost feel like being in someone's hair, I almost feel like, that has a negative connotation, but in the song, I don't feel like it's all negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Black people are very sensitive about people putting their hands in our hair. So to let someone be in your hair, it means that you're really comfortable with that person. You feel like I let the hairdresser touch my hair, and I have to have had this hairdresser for a while. That's the person I trust to do it. But like other people, it's like, kind of, don't touch my hair or my head. So I think for him that was also a sign of trust. But he trusted her enough to put her on more songs than anybody else.
Yeah. Clark.
I always took the meaning as kind of like he was complaining that it was kind of a pain in the ass, but necessary.
Necessary, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't like the fact that she's always in my hair, but I kind of like the fact that she's always in my hair.
Because if she wasn't, there's nobody else who would be like on him like that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the way he portrayed her on the Around the World in a Day sleeve is, always the one crying, and it seemed like he had a lot to work through with our buddy on this.
But you know what he told her was that she asked, well, why am I old? Because she said at the time she was dressing like that.
Right.
But she said, why did you make me old? And he told her, because we'll always know each other.
All right. I think we can all safely say that we give this one a thumbs up.
Big time. Maybe a top 10 Prince song in general.
Yeah. Melissa gave it 3 thumbs
between
up.
that and Erotic City, his best B-sides.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's why I'm glad we did this podcast. These songs really deserve to be talked about just as much as a lot of these album tracks. All right. 17 days. And if you listen, you can hear Brenda Bennett in the 17 days background vocals. The B-side to one of the biggest hits of the 80s. What was the full title? 17 days, blah, 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 blah,
17 days. Was it like the dawn will come and you'll
blah, 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 the dawn, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I remember back in 7th grade when I was dating Missy Huntington, we were playing records backwards because we thought there were satanic messages. And it sounded like Wendy and Lisa when they said 17 days, like it sounded like Satan is the best. So I was afraid of this Prince record at the time. But this song is so amazing.
Here it is. 17 days, the rain will come down, then you will have to choose. If you believe, look to the dawn, and you shall never lose.
Oh, my phone just died, and I can't get Melissa's radio. Oh, she sent it on Facebook, so I can go on my computer. There's not a lot I can say about the song because I just think it's a beautiful song, and I'm gonna name drop. Clark was in the audience. I got to go on stage and sing this live with Brenda Bennett.
I was very impressed. I had a new level of respect for Jeremy Gloff at that point, which was easy to obtain because I'd also seen him chase after Hitchhiker, so it was pretty low and easy to elevate. So
this is actually the first Prince B-side that I ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, because when Doves Cry came out, my dad had gotten a promotional copy at the radio station of the 12-inch, so he brought it home. And because I'd already heard When Doves Cry, I'm like, well, I want to see what else there is. So I just flipped the record over and I played it, and that I was like, oh, wow.
Brenda also did a version with her son at the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame. Wasn't this at one point considered for the Brenda Bennett solo album?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so, because doesn't she have songwriting credit?
Yep.
Just wasn't the 2 cigarettes part from her?
That was like her signature. And she also does a version of this on her her last solo album. Once Again, I believe is the name off the top of my head. So, yeah, we love Brenda. I'd love to get her to come talk about her solo albums because I loved them.
She is like an hour away from me.
Oh my God!
And when I move, she's going to be even closer, like 30 minutes away.
Okay, I'm coming up. We're all hanging out. Clark, we're going up. I'm gonna find that hitchhiker because he was hot. I'm sorry.
I know you're gonna look for him. Yeah. My takeaway from seeing Brenda live was she's so little. Because you watch her in the videos with Apollonia 6 and Vanity 6, and she's kind of like towering over these. Makes me think that all those girls were tiny.
Well, our friend Melissa gave 17 Days 7 thumbs up.
7?
7 thumbs up.
Nobody has 7 thumbs.
Melissa does. Okay. Next. The B-side to 1999, correct? How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Great song.
It's a great song. And
Prince and the Piano, covered by Alicia Keys, right?
Alicia Keys' version is great, too.
Yeah.
And Stephanie Mills also?
I think Stephanie Mills did cover it, yeah.
And for a B-side, so many of these B-sides have such a life and legacy of their own, you know? And this is a well-known song. It was a fucking B-side, man.
Yeah, it's a great song.
What a vulnerable piece of nakedness, emotional nakedness. Prince of the Piano.
I picture a guy playing a piano and a woman in an evening gown laying on top of the piano singing this song.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like that classic lounge singer vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the record, Melissa gave this one 3 thumbs up.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, you realize it was during the Dirty Mind period that he was writing this song. So it was kind of, it's so different from every other song he did at that time. And the B-sides, like, you gotta remember the Gotta Stop Messing About and this song written around the same time.
I think it was about Susan Moonsey, since it was written around that time.
Maybe.
Which one?
How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore?
I don't know.
And I guess it doesn't matter, but it's always fun to speculate.
I've never heard a bad version of this song.
No.
Me either. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Dude, and the B-side to 1999. Like, that's just so huge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Another Lonely Christmas. Was this the B-side to I Would Die For You?
Yeah.
This is not one of my favorite B-sides. I just think it's all right.
It's a little heavy.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah, it's Prince's first attempt at a Christmas song. It's not very merry.
No, the family's not going to gather around the tree and sing Another Lonely Christmas together.
It might snow in April, but it blizzards on Christmas.
Yeah. Look, of all the songs that Mariah Carey could have covered from Prince, she's the queen of Christmas. Why did she not cover this one?
Oh, that's right.
It's not festive, right?
She should have left the beautiful ones alone and did this one.
Yeah.
Melissa gave it 2 thumbs up. I gave it a thumbs up, though.
I gave it a thumbs up.
It's not one of my favorites, but I still think it's great.
Yet another song that doesn't fit in with anything with Purple Rain, even though that's the era that it was released. So
yeah.
Although there is a shot of ice skates in his basement. I guess that's the closest connection.
What a bunch of gems this collection is, though. And like I said, even when this came out, there were some B-sides that didn't even make this, like the sex song from Scandalous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the B-side of Mountains was not in there either. Alexa de Paris.
Yeah.
I like that song.
From Under the Cherry Moon.
And Love or Money wasn't on there from Kiss.
Yeah.
Right.
Love or Money is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a little bop.
Jeremy, do you have a long version of Love or Money that I could get from you at some point?
I just have it on vinyl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Jeffrey said he had it.
Yeah, Jeffrey's got it.
Yeah, I have the long version on vinyl too.
It's never been on CD, I don't think. Or the short version. I don't think either of them ever been on
CD. Not in America, anyway.
Yeah. The short version you can buy it like through Discogs or something from overseas, but yeah.
Next, the B-side to Purple Rain was God, an a cappella.
The love, they call it the love theme.
The love.
The love theme from Purple Rain, from the love scene.
Yeah.
Melissa gave it a thumbs up. I just never really cared about this one. There were so many great songs and B-sides that I just never really listened to this one.
I think
when it came
like An Honest Man, the instrumental version of The Honest Man, I think it served its purpose in the film. Not sure I'd want to have the version on a track.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the instrumental version in the film too. You kind of hear that he goes into what's probably a pretty great guitar solo that you don't
Right.
hear the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a good, I guess maybe the inclusion was to show that, you know, Prince can also score a film too, in addition to just writing contracts.
Well, didn't he record
soundtracks
live at like the Superdome? Isn't that the story on that one? He recorded live with the engineering truck that he traveled around with.
Oh, I think I did hear that, Clark.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I give it a sideways. Melissa gives it a thumbs up. What do you guys give it?
Thumbs up for the film version, sideways for the...
thumbs up for the film version, sideways for this version.
Yeah.
So next we have a song that appeared in a different version on the We Are the World album. The version he included on the B-sides was the live version that was on the telecast of Live Aid, I believe, right? Of Wendy and Lisa and Prince singing For the Tears in Your Eyes. I liked the We Are the World version, which I guess is probably kind of rare now because it's not on any Prince stuff. This version was okay, though.
No, but you can still get the We Are the World album. I like that version, and I like the video there's a video for it too that was never widely released.
There's some damn good songs on that We Are the World that wasn't anywhere else. Like the Pointer Sisters, just a little closer.
Which you would think that would be the song that he ended this with, because he started with the song.
Oh, the snarkiness.
The song that explained why he did this song, right?
I never made that connection. Melissa gives it a thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up, but I think I like the studio version better.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, it sounds like some of Wendy and Lisa's solo stuff later.
Yeah, like This Is the Life, stuff like that.
Some of those, kind of light and airy.
You know, it's funny to me because sometimes I listen to some of their solo stuff and I kind of wonder if Prince was very good at giving people like writing credits on songs that he wrote himself. And like for example, like Honeymoon Express, I always wondered if he gave that song to them.
Yeah, I could see that.
I love Honeymoon Express.
Just because the lyrics alone are kind of like, you know, I don't see anybody else talking about living on rainbows. But
I get so lonely when I think of you.
And the chord changes kind of sound
exactly. Yeah.
I love that first one.
That one and Are You My Baby? I always wondered if he gave them those two songs.
You know what song I loved? The one with Jesse Johnson. Didn't your mama tell you to get a little satisfaction? Oh, that's such a funky song off Fruit Off the... Okay, sorry guys. I'm having
podcast.
Another
the
podcast.
Last song is Power Fantastic.
Okay, it ends. This was an outtake from Sign of the Times, was it?
From 86.
86, okay. This was never one of my favorite songs. Melissa gave it 2 thumbs up. What did you guys think of this one?
Yeah.
Which one? What is it?
Power Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay on it. But there's people who love this song.
I know.
An opus. Yeah.
There's other people that like love Adore. I know you guys love it, but I never loved that song. And I don't love this one either.
I love Adore.
Yeah.
I give Power Fantastic sideways.
I'll give it leaning up. How's that?
Sideways.
But wouldn't you guys have taken Love or Money?
Yeah.
Or Sex or Alexa de Paris?
Yeah. Any of those 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Any one of those 3 I would have taken over that. Yeah.
But I hear people raving about this song like it's the most incredible thing he ever did, and it's a crime that it didn't get bigger. And I don't see that.
I don't either. I mean, for all the B-sides that he did in 86, for that to be the one that they choose, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the only reason Alexis de Paris didn't become a song that was releasable was because who at the time wanted to hear a Prince song without Prince singing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would put Lover Money way above that.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a couple different versions of Power Fantastic? I really loved reading Dwayne's book when he talks about all the sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he doesn't. Is he doing another book for another era? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Didn't he have, when he did his interviews, his initial interviews, how far out did he cover?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know, but his books are great though.
That Purple Rain book took me back to 1984, being 9 years old, and the way he painted the way the temperature was and the snow and I couldn't put that book down.
Yeah, it's great.
And there are other things like certain people in the Prince camp. I'm like, shut up. Like people's true colors really came through in that book, for better and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that that book and his parade sessions and Sign of the Time sessions is a good one. I'm still not finished with the Sign of the Time sessions ones, because it's so long.
It's really
but it's so detailed, and I think one of the best decisions I think he made in writing those books was letting people tell the story themselves. And so you do get to see, like you said, people's true colors, good or bad.
Right.
I even like the little chapters where it'll say Wednesday, November 3rd. He may have stopped in at Los Angeles and did something. There's no record.
Right.
Just shows how thorough he is.
I mean, the fact that he covered almost every day of the period is
even
you
days
found something
happened
to fill every day of every period. Wow.
Yeah.
So Nathan Hellman, who is one of my Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac Phonogenics, said he's like, let me on the Prince podcast so I can tell everyone my 5 favorite Prince songs. Should I let him on at the end?
Sure.
I don't know if we have time. We're about wrapping up.
This one's gone longer than I thought it would.
I know. I had a blast. Okay, I'll just give the shout out. It's Take Me With You, Sweet Baby, Little Red Corvette, Another Love. What's Another Love? I don't know that song.
Another Love, Hole in Your Head.
Oh, Hole in Your Head. Yep. Oh, and he said Flex or number. You need another love. Let's let him on. So overall, the hits and B-sides, what would you guys give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it an 8. And I say that just because there are some B-sides that I would have liked to see and favor others. And then the hits 1 and 2, those short versions of the song, the 7-inch versions of a lot of the songs didn't appeal to me. I have it, but I only honestly listen to the B-sides disc, because with the other ones, I just go to the original songs.
And don't you think every Prince fan just went right to that B-sides disc?
Probably.
Probably.
I agree 100% with that assessment, but with that said, it's a must-have, though.
Yeah.
Oh, must-have.
It's something you have to have in your collection. Yeah. I think even for casual Prince fans, more than anything else, people who are like us, like collectors and stuff, we have it, but it's not the most prized possession in the in the annals of our collection. But if you're just a casual Prince fan and you know 1999 songs and some 90s songs and the Purple Rain songs, then it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have in your collection for sure.
Yeah, like you said, when you want to dive deep, you can just go to the original albums.
Yeah.
So,
Melissa gave it a 10, of course. And
well, there's 7 thumbs.
I'm gonna have to give it a 9. I think I give it a 9. Some of his B-sides are probably the best B-sides in the history of recorded music ever. I'd hate to say.
Now, I know everybody has their opinion about what they want to see from the estate and what Super Deluxe they want to see. And of course, I want a Parade Super Deluxe before I want a Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe. Believe me. Just because I don't want, if there are more songs in the vault, like Jughead, I can do without it. But I would like to see a Super Deluxe of just B-sides.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And like the extent, because remember when they came out with the Ultimate Prince compilation? Our friend Jeffrey Dicker did all what was selected for the B-sides. And I'm so mad that the Mountains 12-inch is never on CD. Oh my God, universes are colliding. This is Nathan from the Stevie Nicks Phonogenics. This is Aisha and Clark, two of my loyals. You guys.
Hey, y'all.
What's up?
We're finishing up. We just rated Prince the B-sides. We had so much fun tonight, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Nathan, tell the Phonogenics listeners your top 5 favorite Prince songs before we wrap up. You're on mute. You are muted.
So nice to see everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in.
These are not necessarily from the B-sides album. I think one of them might be.
But this is the hits and B-sides, so that counts too.
All right. Well, I've got Take Me With You.
Okay.
Sweet Baby. Little Red Corvette, Another Love, and then I'm a flex choice on 5, so I could be swayed on this.
What's it between? We're gonna vote.
So many. What should I know in terms of B-sides?
Don't pick anything. Your fifth song can be anything from the Prince au revoir.
He wants a B-side though. He wants a B-side recommendation.
Oh, you want a B-side recommendation?
Yeah. What's that? 7 days with the piano or something?
Question: is that Another Love from the Spectrum Electrum, the Third Eye Girl?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Okay.
And and so this would be my number 5 is the retooled version, Aisha, that they did of Party Like It's 1999. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The new master?
Yeah.
I always thought that was weird. And I'll be honest, the reason I always thought it was weird was because you just wasn't there like a version of it with Rosario Dawson like reciting a poem or something on one of the versions, and I just thought that he did too much with when he did that little compilation of 1999 covers, and that there was only one reason for him doing that, was because he was trying to capitalize on the song that he wrote at the time of the millennium, and he couldn't because all that stuff was tied up with Warner's. And so what we got from him wasn't Prince, it was Cymbal Guy doing a cover of a Prince song.
Have you all talked about Showgirls yet, though?
Showgirls? No.
Yeah. Remember when he did, I guess that was off of the Gold Experience album. It's like he and Showgirls
319
thing there for a minute. Yeah.
I actually covered 319 in the Gold Experience Prince thread last year.
Nathan, how come I didn't know you were such a big Prince fan? Why the hell have you been on these?
I'm more of a Showgirls fan. And actually, the song that I was talking about isn't 1999. It's Let's Go Crazy. Remember when he redid Let's Go Crazy with Third Eye Girl?
I've seen it live.
The slow down version. Yeah.
I've seen it live.
I enjoyed that.
I do like that. Yeah.
You know why I couldn't get over the
live. That's a nice cover. But when he covered 1999, I was kind of like,
I'm like, that's an interesting choice there, Nathan. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll look up the 1999.
Oh, don't do it. Right. Don't even give that one more play.
Okay.
No, don't waste your time, because there's like it's like 4 or 5 versions of it done differently.
And who owns the 1999 New Master CD single? Because I sure as fuck own it. Anyone else here? Yeah, we all own it.
I didn't know. I didn't waste my money.
I wasn't even friends with Jill Jones yet, and I couldn't get over the fact that Jill and Lisa weren't singing on that.
No, look, when it came time to that, every week I add to my Prince collection something. I saw that and I said, I think I'd rather have another 12-inch of Girls and Boys. So I went for that instead.
You passed over the New Master.
Because 9 times out of 10, I will play that Girls and Boys vinyl. I will not play the New Master. Because I didn't like it when I heard it at the time.
I know we're wrapping up like in 2 minutes, but my favorite thing about the song Girls and Boys is how, isn't it like Sheila and Wendy are in one ear and then Lisa and Susanna are in the other one.
Yeah.
I love that because I would listen with one ear so I could hear their voices because I loved all the Prince girls.
Yeah, the way that he did that was really unique.
All right, friends. Well, we have one more Prince episode in December, and then we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna take a break in the beginning of the year, and then we're gonna dive into Tina Marie, fucking Lady T.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god. Okay, I just want to warn everyone that Emerald City is one of my top 3 favorite albums of all time.
Really?
I know, that's what Jill said. Jill, I was walking down the street.
Lover Girl? Tina Marie, Lover Girl?
Yes.
But Emerald's that's not on Emerald City though. Emerald City
that was on Star Child.
Lips to Find You in Barracuda Suite.
And You So Heavy with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
But the thing is, do you know that album actually was like it was like a number 1 or 2 rock album.
It was in the
heavy metal chart or something.
Yep, the greatest heavy metal albums of all time.
Yeah.
I was walking with Jill and I was told her like Emerald City's okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's definitely in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. And she looks at me, she goes, "You like that one?" Nathan, that's your homework. Go listen to Tina Marie Emerald City.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for the recommendation. Nice to meet y'all.
All right, friends. Much love to you all. I'm so glad that we did the hits and B-sides, and I will see you all in December.
All right.
For what album?
We're going to do a lightning round, 95 and beyond.
Okay.
So we're just going to do a lightning round, and then Lady T, baby.
Yes. Starting with Wild and Peaceful.
Wild and Peaceful. I'm a sucker for your love.
Yep. All right.